Hey guys, what's up? It's Patrick of Coaster Fanatics, and today I'm bringing you my list of the top roller coasters at Cedar Point. This park arguably has the best collection of roller coasters on the planet. They have an Intamin Impulse, a Giga, a Blitz, and a Stratocoaster, as well as great B&Ms like a Wing, a Floorless, an Invert, and a Dive Coaster. I've been to Cedar Point more than any other park and have been on all the major coasters at least 5 times. Some of them more than 20 times. You guys will see where I rank them all starting now. Starting off this list in the 16 and 17 spots by default are the 2 kiddie coasters. At 17 I have Wilderness Run, the Intamin Children's Coaster. At 16 I have the Woodstock Express, the Vekoma Junior Coaster. Coming in the 15th spot I have the Cedar Creek Mine Ride, the Aerodynamics Mine Train Coaster. This is the second oldest coaster at the park, and one of the most popular for younger people. The Cedar Creek Mine Ride is just alright in my opinion, you guys. I feel like it is very rough and jerky. I do like that it is partially built on water. It adds a little more excitement to the ride. My favorite part is the helix at the end. It's probably the most intense part of the ride. All in all, it's a fun coaster for the younger crowd, but I wouldn't recommend it for adults. There are just so many better coasters at Cedar Point to choose from. Like I've said before, I wouldn't be surprised if the Cedar Creek Mine Ride gets replaced with a family-style GCI like Invader at Busch Gardens. Ranking in the number 14 spot, I have Iron Dragon, the aerodynamic suspended coaster. I'm not a big fan of this coaster, you guys. It just doesn't do much for me. You guys, I've been on way better suspended coasters before, and I'd probably rank this one last. The beginning is very slow, and that second lift hill just kills it for me. It is nice that it's built on water though. I didn't get a POV of this coaster because they were testing virtual reality on it when I was there. But it's not a big loss. I'll get it next time I'm there. Next in the 13th spot, I have the Corkscrew, the Aerodynamics Looping Coaster. This particular coaster was the first ever to have 3 inversions. Unfortunately, this is also one of the rougher aero loopers, especially through the corkscrew section. I do love how this coaster passes over the main walkway. That has always been one of my favorite parts about Cedar Point. Another good thing about this coaster is that there is never a line. Every time I've been to Cedar Point, I've walked right on this coaster. So if you're looking for a quick ride to kill some time, this is the one, you guys. Coming in the 12th spot, I have Pipe Scream. I know a lot of you are going to say that this isn't a roller coaster, but according to the Cedar Point website, it is a roller coaster, and I agree. Is it traditional? No, it's not, but it has all the parts that make a roller coaster a roller coaster. Honestly, you guys, these things are airtime machines. From the outside, it looks like it's for kids, but it's very thrilling for adults too. I encourage all of you to give it a try. Now for some of the really good stuff, you guys. Ranking in the 11th spot, I have the Blue Streak, the Philadelphia Toboggan Wood Coaster. Blue Streak is the oldest operating roller coaster at Cedar Point, with its opening day in 1964. This is a true classic, you guys. Blue Streak actually gives a pretty smooth ride and decent airtime for a coaster that is so old. It is, in my opinion, the perfect first roller coaster for a younger person who is looking to try a larger coaster. Now that Mean Streak is closed, the Blue Streak is the only real wood roller coaster in the entire park. Of all the older coasters at Cedar Point, I'd say the Blue Streak is the safest from being dismantled. It is an extremely important part of Cedar Point history, and I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. Now for our top 10, and honestly, these can be interchangeable. Cedar Point has the best top 10 in the world in my opinion. In the number 10 spot, I have Rugaru, the B&M Floorless Coaster. Of course, many of you know this coaster used to be a stand-up coaster called Mantis, before they converted it into a floorless in 2015. So before they did the conversion, I hated Mantis. In fact, I only rode it twice. It just wasn't re-rideable for me. To me, there was just too much headbanging, which is typical on stand-up coasters. Since they changed it to the floorless Rugaru, it has become a much better ride. Much more enjoyable in my opinion. There still is some headbanging unfortunately, but it is nowhere near as bad as what it used to be. I love the fact that they converted this coaster because it has now become re-rideable for me. The loop in the beginning is great, and it is the tallest inversion in the park next to Gatekeeper's drop of course. It also features an incline loop, which is a pretty unique inversion that you won't find on many roller coasters. All in all, it's a much better ride than it used to be. Cedar Point just has 9 coasters that are slightly better. Next, in the number 9 spot, I have the Magnum XL 200, the Aerodynamics Hypercoaster. Magnum was the first roller coaster to break the 200-foot tall barrier. Because of this, it is an ACE coaster landmark. I know a lot of you think that I hate Magnum, but that's not the case, you guys. Magnum has some of the best airtime in the park. The part I dislike about Magnum is its roughness. It has been getting progressively worse over the years and needs to be addressed, in my opinion, especially in the pretzel turnaround. I said in my future Cedar Point roller coasters list that I'd like to see an Intamin or a B&M standing in its place, and I still stand by that. However, a lot of you suggested that Morgan can come in and retract this thing, and honestly, I'd be happy with that. Magnum is still a good ride. I just feel they need to make some kind of improvement because it's getting left in the dust by the newer coasters Cedar Point continues to build. Next on this list is another older roller coaster. Ranking in the number 8 spot, I have the Gemini, the Aerodynamics Racing Hybrid Coaster. Gemini is my favorite racing coaster right now. It is just a fun roller coaster, you guys. This is one that just about the whole family can ride. It actually has some decent airtime and features some great head chopper moments. Since these coasters change directions so much, the trains often pass each other a lot during the course of the ride. Often on other racing coasters, the lead train ends up staying in the lead the whole time. The Gemini usually switches back and forth if it was timed just right in the station. My personal favorite part of this ride is the helix at the end. It is surprisingly intense and one of the most thrilling parts of the ride. All in all, it's a great ride for everyone and I highly recommend it. Easily my favorite of all the older roller coasters at Cedar Point. Alright, you guys, next in the number 7 spot, I have Wicked Twister, the Intamin Impulse Coaster. My favorite impulse coaster, as a matter of fact. Wicked Twister has one of the best launches in the park. It is technically the tallest and fastest inverted coaster in the world. However, it doesn't make a full circuit, so it usually doesn't get recognized for that. To put it simply, you guys, it is just a really fun coaster and gives a great beach view standing in line as well as at the top of the twisted spikes. This coaster gets overlooked, which is understandable considering the other coasters at the park, but I still highly recommend it to everybody. Just missing the top 5, coming in the number 6 spot, I have Raptor, the B&M inverted coaster. And honestly, you guys, this one is interchangeable with my number 5 pick. Raptor is one of the best inverts ever made in my opinion. In fact, it was my favorite before Banshee was built. Before Gatekeeper was built in 2013, Raptor was the first roller coaster you would come across walking down the midway. This is an eye-catching coaster and very loud too. This thing just roars, which is something I actually like. The ride itself is pretty smooth and features great inversions like the Cobra Roll. A lot of people say that it has a bad B&M rattle. It is there, but it isn't over the top. There is a small chance of headbanging, but it isn't as bad as some of the other inverts in my opinion. My favorite part of this ride is the helix at the end. It is the most intense part of the ride and extremely thrilling. Alright you guys, now for my top 5. Ranking in the number 5 spot, I have Belle Raven, the B&M dive coaster. I know a lot of you guys are going to beat me up for putting this so high in the list, but unlike most of the other enthusiasts, I love this coaster, you guys. I want to stress that Belle Raven is the first and only dive coaster I've ever been on, so maybe it ranks so high for me because it's something new in my eyes. This is actually a beautiful coaster. I like the color scheme and they did a great job with the new entrance and landscaping that surrounds it. The dive is amazing, one of the best drops in the park. The inversions are great and pretty forceful. And of course it has the great B&M vest restraint, which I love. You really can't go wrong with this coaster, you guys, and I don't understand why enthusiasts hate on it so much. Next in the number 4 spot, I have the final B&M, and that's Gatekeeper, the B&M wing coaster. Wing coasters also get hated on by enthusiasts, but once again, I disagree. I love wing coasters. I guess I'm an enthusiast that represents the general public a little more. This is a fantastic coaster, you guys. It's actually very forceful and butter smooth. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Gatekeeper features the highest inversion at the park with its wing over drop at 170 feet tall. This coaster was built around the main park entrance. It does a 0G roll as it passes through 2 keyhole towers above the main gate. Gatekeeper literally greets the guests as they enter the park to let them know that they just entered the roller coaster capital of the world. It has 6 great inversions and features an awesome B&M vest restraint. I just ask, what's not to love about this coaster? Almost 2 million riders braved Gatekeeper in 2016. Bad coasters don't get that many riders. That's all the evidence you need right there. People love this coaster, and for good reason. I highly recommend this coaster to everybody. It is the best B&M at the park in my opinion. As good as Gatekeeper is, there are still 3 big B&Ms that are slightly better. In the number 3 spot, I have Top Thrill Dragster, the Intamin Stratocoaster. Wow, you guys, what a rush this coaster gives. Top Thrill Dragster gives instant thrills from the beginning to end. There just aren't many places where you can ride a roller coaster at 120 miles per hour. Although Cedar Point is most known for Millennium Force, Top Thrill Dragster is the star of the show in my opinion. I don't care how many times you've been to Cedar Point, you can't help but stare at this roller coaster. It is the centerpiece of Cedar Point, and at a cost of $25 million is their largest investment. $25 million for only a 30-second ride. It sounds crazy, but it was all worth it in my opinion. Yes, it does experience a lot of downtime from what I hear, but it has ran every single time I've been there, and I've been to Cedar Point a lot, and have gotten multiple rides almost every time, so I really can't complain about this coaster. It sounds crazy, but I've always wanted to experience a rollback or even get stuck on the top hat. That would be amazing to just sit up there for a while. Unfortunately, it has only happened 2 times that I'm aware of, so needless to say, it's pretty rare. But who knows, maybe someday I'll get lucky. Alright you guys, now for my top 2, and honestly they are interchangeable as they are both excellent rides. Ranking in the number 2 spot, I have Maverick, the Intamin Blitz coaster. Who would have thought that a coaster built at only 100 feet tall would become one of the greatest roller coasters in history? Maverick packs a punch, you guys. Easily one of the most intense rides at the park. This coaster has everything you want in a roller coaster, from its straight down drop, its multiple inversions, and its awesome launch. This coaster has all the elements we've all come to love on roller coasters. Maverick stays low to the ground and has these amazing turns that really throw you out of your seat. The inversions give great hang time. In fact, Maverick was the first to feature a twisted horseshoe inversion, which is awesome. The launch is excellent. It is easily one of the best launches in the park, next to Top Thrill Dragster, of course. It gets you to over 70 miles per hour before you go through more bank turns that are over water. Recently, Cedar Point changed the restraints on this coaster to a vest restraint, which is a great move because there was strong potential for headbanging on Maverick. Now you can't hit your head on anything, which really improved the ride. Like I said, Maverick is one of the best coasters ever made, and I really don't have anything negative to say about it. Well, you guys, you all know what my number 1 coaster at Cedar Point is, and that's Millennium Force, the Intamin Giga Coaster. The original Giga Coaster, as a matter of fact. Many of you already know that this is my favorite roller coaster. I've been on Millennium Force at least 10 times, and it just never gets old for me. The first time I went to Cedar Point in 2001, I remember chickening out and not riding Millennium Force. But then I came back in 2003 and faced my fears and realized what I had missed. This is an amazing roller coaster, you guys. Here we are 17 years later, and Millennium is still one of the most popular roller coasters in the world. In fact, 2016 was the first year that another Giga coaster beat it in the Golden Ticket Award rankings. The drop on this coaster is iconic and was the first to feature a cable-style lift hill. When you go over the lift hill, you almost feel like you're going to drop right into the lake, and it's awesome, you guys. This coaster just keeps its speed throughout the whole ride. Millennium Force features some of the highest banked non-inversion turns on a roller coaster. Many people will tell you that it isn't super intense, and they are right. It is just right in my opinion. It's perfect for the general public and a thrill-seeking enthusiast like myself. Another reason I like this coaster is that the trains are seated 2 across and has a simple lap bar, compared to the B&M that seats 4 across, which is something I don't like. A lot of people think that Millennium Force is overrated, and honestly I could understand the argument. People think that a coaster this old shouldn't rank so high, But honestly, I think Millennium Force will stand the test of time. It's already proving that, you guys. I wouldn't be surprised if Millennium Force gets an ACE Coaster Landmark status. It truly deserves it in my opinion. I honestly can't say anything negative about this coaster, and I continue to look forward to riding it every time I visit Cedar Point. So there you have it, you guys. That was my list of the top roller coasters at Cedar Point. Do you guys agree with this list? Please leave your thoughts in the comments section and share your Cedar Point roller coaster list. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please smash that like button. And if you're new around here, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, you guys. Have a good one. I'll catch you all on the next video very, very soon.